Michelle Torrio, and this is a Be Mindful podcast. Hi there, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Be Mindful podcast. If you are new here, welcome. If you are interested in transformation, personal growth, mindset, manifestation, then this is the podcast for you. So if you are into that, make sure you follow and subscribe. And if you have any podcast topics you want me to talk about, leave a comment below. And if you're not new here, welcome back. I'm super excited for today's episode because we are going to be focusing on reflecting on 2024 and being able to reset our mindset, reset our habits so that we can really step into 2025 with clarity and intention and purpose. On my last episode, I briefly talked about resetting for the new year, but I thought it'd be a great episode to really focus on it and give you some journal prompts that you can use, even some actionable steps that you can take. That way you feel ready to go. I also think that reflecting on the year and just being able to reset is a big part of personal growth because you get to understand where you've been, where you are, and where you want to go. So let's get right into the episode and let's talk about the 3 reflection questions that you can ask yourself. The first one is, what are 3 moments that I can be proud of from this year? I truly believe this makes a difference in your own confidence and knowing that, hey, I did that. I deserve to be proud of my hard work and everything that I've accomplished. So as you're writing down these 3 moments that you could be proud of, really soak it in and be proud. Be your biggest cheerleader, like I always say. This is a great practice that you don't have to wait till the end of the year to do. So I do recommend maybe once a month, just looking back, like, what did I do last month that I could be proud of? It can be just 1 thing or 3 things every single month. You build confidence in yourself, you build trust in yourself because you're proving to yourself that you showed up and you did these things. The next question is, what challenges did I overcome this year? And what did I learn? I really do believe that every obstacle that comes in our life, it can be a learning lesson. It's really your perspective. So even if something happened this year that was really difficult, you went through that. You got through it. No one else got you out of that. So that's one thing you can also be proud of. But from that obstacle, from that challenge, really observe, like, what could you have learned from that challenge? When you acknowledge these moments, you're really allowing yourself to grow into a better version of yourself because you're able to recognize the things that you went through and understand, like, I went through that, I overcame that. And the next time another challenge comes, I'm just going to view it as an opportunity to learn from it. It's all perspective. And the last reflection question is, what are the habits, the relationships, and the beliefs that no longer serve me? Having clarity of what you do want when you step into 2025 is obviously important, but I think there's so much more power in knowing what you don't want. Like, what are the things that no longer serve you and no longer need to be in your life? I promise you, when you start removing those things, whether it's a habit or a specific relationship with someone or a belief that makes you feel less worthy of yourself, doors start to open, opportunities start to open, and you just feel so much happier because you're setting that boundary for yourself and recognizing, like, no, I don't want this type of energy in my life. And I'm going to do something about it. So as you reflect on 2024, the one thing I really want to emphasize and remind you of is that progress is progress. And there is no perfect progress either. It's always going to be progress over perfection, okay? And I know that at the end of the year, sometimes we can be a little too hard on ourselves, right? Maybe you had specific goals that you set in the beginning of the year and you didn't hit them. I want you to remind yourself that that's okay. Another thing too is that it's possible that your goals have changed. That's one thing that I've noticed a lot of people forget, is that it's okay to change your goals. It's okay to be working towards something for so long and then later realize that this isn't something that you want anymore. That is okay. That's actually a blessing, I think, because you're getting that awareness. You worked towards something and then it made you realize that you don't want it anymore. That's fine. I've definitely been in those situations multiple times before, and I don't regret ever listening to my gut, ever. I really try to block out the noise and not allow other people's opinions to guide me on what decision I want to make. I always try to remember that this is my life and I don't need to care what other people think is best for me, because at the end of the day, you know what's best for you. And even if you don't know what decision to make, you have to make one, right? And there's never a right or wrong decision, I think, like when you're trying to navigate your own path, because I really do believe you have to at least try. If you don't try, then you'll just never know. So if you're trying to decide if you should do one thing or the other, like where do you feel more pulled? And don't allow yourself to just sit and be like, oh, the decision will come. No, it may not ever come and you may not ever feel ready. You just have to do it. You just have to start. And that's where progress starts too. And the beauty about starting anything, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? So for example, this podcast, I think I stopped recording for 8 months. And I'm not gonna lie, it gave me a lot of anxiety and it was a really tough decision because I love recording for my podcast, but I was trying to plan a wedding. Having a wedding has literally been my dream since I was a little girl. And I had to realize that, okay, Rachel, you don't have a wedding planner. And I'm not saying I did this all by myself either, but a lot of the inspiration that I got from like Pinterest boards and all that stuff and bringing it to life, like that was really all on me, and making sure that I bring it to my family and friends who were helping me with the wedding to kind of bring that vision to life. I had to realize that this is a once in a lifetime thing. I am getting married to the love of my life, my best friend, and I'm about to have the wedding of my dreams. So I need to focus on that right now. That's what's bringing me light. This is what's bringing me joy right now. That's what was going on through my head, and telling myself, like, this is my bridal era. I need to allow myself to enjoy this because I'm never going to have it again. That was a great personal growth moment for me because I was really putting myself first. And by taking a break, it was benefiting my mental health. It allowed me to be present and be excited for my own wedding. And then after the wedding, I was ready. I was ready to get back in it, but I knew I didn't want to rush into it. And so that's why I was like, okay, this is my goal, to be up and running again and posting again by November 2024. The reason why I wanted to share that personal story is because it's a reminder that we don't have to be perfectly consistent. I've learned that consistent is also part of you stopping and starting up again. I constantly told myself that even though I'm stopping right now, it doesn't mean it's forever. It's remembering that you can always come back. You can always reset. So if you fall off, it's okay. It's fine. Just show up again. You can show up again over and over as many times as you want to, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Progress is progress. So now that we talked about reflecting on the past year, now let's talk about resetting for the new year. The biggest thing I want to suggest is letting go of things that no longer align with your goals or your values. There's so many different practices of letting go of things. So for example, journaling. You can journal about it. Like, what are you trying to release from this past year? Another way of letting go, for example, if you're trying to let go of certain beliefs, you can write all of those negative beliefs on a specific paper and you can burn it. That's one way. Another option is decluttering. Maybe you have a lot of stuff that you need to get rid of that is no longer aligning with like your type of lifestyle. A lot of us tend to keep things that we've had for years and years that we don't even use anymore. So this could be a good time. That's honestly something that I really need to do because I have a lot of stuff that I don't need anymore. One of the things that I'm really working on letting go of, and I think this is definitely just going to be an ongoing process, it's letting go of unrealistic standards that I set for myself. So sometimes I can look at things very black and white where it's like, okay, I'm fully succeeding in this thing or I'm just a complete failure. It's never really giving myself the grace to be in the middle and be like, okay, this is okay. For example, when you're in high school, you envision yourself like living a specific type of lifestyle. Like maybe you envisioned to be excelling in a specific career by a specific age. And we can be really, really hard on ourselves, feeling like because we didn't reach that, we're failing at it. It's this habit of feeling like I need to always be doing something and I need to be doing better and better. That is what I'm trying to let go of, where my best is just enough. My best is going to look different every single day, and that is okay. So that's something that I'm working on, and I'm trying to let go of those habits of being so hard on myself and setting unrealistic standards. Like, that's what I'm working on. This is something that I actually thought I've worked through completely and that I've healed from, but our brain has those memories stuck in there. So of course, there's going to be times where old habits and old patterns come up, and that's when we need to give ourselves some grace. So even though I'm saying I'm letting go of this, I don't expect to be perfect at it, and just kind of continue working on it. And even if it's something I'm still working on the end of next year, I'm sure I will be like so much more far along. I probably will have way more progress a year from now. So remembering that it doesn't need to be perfect. Another way we're going to reset for the new year is setting intentions, not resolutions. We're not doing that. The difference between setting a resolution and intention is that with resolutions, it's more rigid and more strict. And if you don't achieve that goal, you tend to be a lot harder on yourself and feel like you're failing. But if you set an intention, you're allowing room for growth. And when you set intentions too, they can align with your values. So when you're setting your intentions for 2025, identify your core values. What is important to you? And take that moment to visualize what life you want to create for yourself. Like, what do you want in 2025? How do you want to show up for yourself? How do you want to feel? What are the actions in your life that you want to do more of because it gives you more joy, or it impacts your mental health, it impacts your physical health in a positive way? Like stuff like that. Set intentions around your values. So for me, my intention next year is to build a very strong body, like the healthiest, strongest I've ever been. I think because this past year, the first like 6 to 8 months, I didn't really have like a specific goal. I just knew I wanted to like lose weight, but it wasn't very clear for me. So I wasn't as motivated. And then the last few months, I've realized, okay, I think I want to grow my butt and I want to get stronger, but I still want to stay lean. And because I've done bodybuilding, I understand like how my body responds based on how much I eat and how I'm lifting weights. So I have a clearer vision of like what I want to look like and how I want to feel. It's so important to me that I take care of my physical health on top of my mental health. And when I'm working on both, I feel amazing. And I've felt so good the last 4 months since really focusing on that and having specific intentional goals. I honestly just want to feel really good, and my health is just, it matters to me because when I have children, I want to be able to live as long as possible to be in their life. And the last tip I want to give you as you're resetting for this new year is to try to hone in on a grounding technique, specifically mindful practices that'll help you reset mentally. So that can be as simple as using breathing techniques. You can go on YouTube. I'm sure you can find so many breathing exercises that you can go along with someone on YouTube. One of my favorite practices is visualization because one, it's so powerful, and it's also kind of like you stepping into your inner child. When we were kids, our imagination was so big that sometimes we lose a part of our imagination as we get older because we're constantly told to think realistically. But when you practice visualization, whether that's like 30 seconds or a minute, you're just closing your eyes, you are training your mind to believe like what is possible for you. And the reason why this is so powerful is because our mind just doesn't know the difference between reality or what you're thinking. So if you think of it more often, your mind is going to really believe like, oh, This is an actual experience. And somehow you start to attract those things because you are setting yourself up into that frequency. With your mindful practice, I want you to really focus in on the energy that you want to bring into 2025. Just a reminder too, that there's no perfect grounding technique or mindful practice that you need. It's really doing a practice that benefits you to kind of get yourself in a positive headspace and focus on the energy that you want to be in. So for example, the energy that I want in 2025 is more slowness. I tend to move through things a little too fast sometimes. And when I do that, I can't provide the best results. So I've been trying to slow down every single time I find myself rushing. So those are all my tips on reflecting and resetting for the new year. I hope it was helpful for you. As you reflect, like really have gratitude for this year and give yourself grace, be nice, and just be honest with yourself. Because if you're honest with yourself, that's what's going to help you grow. And the last reminder before I end this episode is to remember that every small step you take matters. And the most important thing is that you continue to show up for yourself and love yourself and be intentional with the decisions and goals that you set for yourself. So let's enjoy these last few weeks of 2024 with gratitude. And as always, don't forget to be mindful, because who you are from within will attract from the out. See you in the next episode. Bye.